Thank you, all of you who are in attendance today. And I'm going to ask Ms. Leslie, do roll call.
First of all, I want to say congratulations to Mayor-elect Paul Montgomery. So
Thank
hopefully
you.
he'll stay with us when he starts his term next month.
Thank you very much.
And also there's a sign-in sheet. If you've not signed in, be sure to do that. And then there's also a form if you want to be on our email distribution list and you're not. Okay, Chairman Paul Montgomery.
Here.
Jimmy Adkins is online. He will not be voting, but if he has something to say, he'll chime in. Blake Ayler.
Here.
Troy Everett.
Here.
Michael Thompson is the proxy for Chase Milner.
Here.
Amber Torbett.
Here.
So we're missing Hawkins County, Churchill, Mount Carmel.
So we have a quorum, is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. First order of business is I'm gonna open the floor for public comment. If any of you have a comment about any item that's on the agenda or any item pertaining to transportation issues, this is your time to address us. You have 5 minutes to do that. And I want to add, this is not, even though when you make comment, do not expect a response from us. This is just making comments and we're here to listen. So after 5 minutes, 5 minutes is up and that's it. But there will not be any back and forth or give and take. We're in the comment section. Is that pretty clear? Okay, does anyone have anything to say? Comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to approval of minutes of the May 9th minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that.
Made a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Been made a second motion to approve the minutes. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, like sign? The minutes are approved. Next item, Miss Leslie.
So just a couple of updates. That was the only voting item we have. If you remember in May, the TIP amendment for the Virginia projects, we didn't get it in enough time to have the 10-day public review before the meeting. So Federal Highway Virginia allowed the item to be voted on with the final adoption contingent on the 10-day public review period to be held after the meeting. And one of the stipulations was that the status update needed to be provided at the next meeting, which is this meeting. So the 10-day public review period was held May 9th through May 18th. No comments were received, so the amendment was officially adopted effective May 20th, which was the next business day following the 10-day public review period. And another thing that's going on is a statewide household travel survey. So the large MPOs that have the population over 200,000 are required to do these they prefer, I think, every 10 years, but it's not actually required on a set time frame. But it's good information to have for planning purposes, especially for your long range plans, which will be starting on ours in the spring of 25. And it's just very informative for post-COVID travel patterns. So it analyzes trends in personal and household travel, includes daily non-commercial travel by all modes, including characteristics of the people traveling, their household, their vehicles, who's traveling, when they travel, where they're going, why they go there, how they get there. And we've been working with the University of Tennessee Center for Transportation Research for phase 1, which is developing the scope. Most Tennessee MPOs have decided to participate in phase 2, which is the actual survey. Nashville and Clarksville are not participating, but everybody else is. This is not a typical like Survey Monkey survey. This is a very specialized, very in-depth thing, and they're very expensive. So our sample size should be 500, which is going to be the same for Bristol and Johnson City as well. They'll have 500 each. And the estimate is $250 to $300 per survey, which comes up to, we're looking at probably for Kingsport, 125 to 150,000 total. We have enough money in our PL fund reserve to pay the 80% federal. So it's not going to come out of what we've got programmed in our UPWP. So as of right now, we don't think we'll need an amendment to the UPWP. If we do, then we'll bring it back for a voting item. But not only that, the best part of this is that TDOT's going to pay the 20% match. So we don't feel like we'll ever get this opportunity again. As far as I know, there's never been one done in the Tri-Cities. So it'll be, good information. I guess you all voted to participate today. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Bristol and Johnson City are also on board, and TDOT's also, we're requesting that they include the counties outside the state just for the bi-state MPOs. And we'll just keep you posted as that progresses. But TDOT thinks they can use an on-call consultant to start the process. So instead of having to go out with the RFP, which would take quite a while, that they'll be able to get this going quicker than it was expected. So, are there any questions on either one of those?
I'd just make a comment that, there was the discussion about the Virginia portion of our MPO area, and travel patterns are generally the same across. So we feel like that whether, no matter how many points come from the Virginia side or the Tennessee side, we feel like it's going to be a good representative for the whole region. So with that, with Johnson City and Bristol's information, it'll be much better information than we've ever had before for the work on our plans.
Yeah, and Progity in Memphis, of course, Memphis will have the most surveys. They let's see. They are requesting TDOT because Memphis and Knoxville have really been leading this with TDOT. So they're going to request to include counties outside Tennessee, that the counties that would be surveyed outside of Tennessee, not talking about total population, but the amount of people that would be surveyed outside of Tennessee would be 7% for Memphis or 0.6% for Kingsport. So they don't feel like it would be that big of a deal. And like Michael said, the travel patterns shouldn't be that different just across state lines. So even if we don't get by state, which we're hoping, even if we don't get those counties, it still should be good data.
Okay, any other questions of Leslie at this point? Seeing none, we'll move to our TDOT update. And I guess Troy, you gonna do that for us?
Yep, I'm gonna kick us off with the first part. So earlier this week, there's a letter sent out. We discussed a little bit earlier to the mayors, just as a reminder, the SPP program, which is the state partnership program, is up at the end of the month. So we have till the 30th to get that application in if anyone's interested. We can help. OCT can help somewhat on it, but it's up to the city or the local municipality or county to be able to put in for that program. And it's not just MPOs, it's also the rural areas. This isn't replacing our ranking projects. This isn't overlooking what we already have on there for our Improve Act. What this is it's an opportunity for anyone who wants to partner with TDOT for us to go through and move some of these projects forward that are, especially if they're already in your TIP, didn't meet the 10-year plan, or there's something in your long-range plan. It has to be planned for. So, and Michael and I have talked an example. Bristol had the north-south connectors already in their TIP. You all have several projects in your TIP like Rock Springs Road that you've already put money towards. Those type of projects are we don't want to leave any of our partners out there if they are given that opportunity. One thing about it is we're also trying to curb and I don't know how they're going to stop it, but we're trying to curb the open call all the time to go down to the commissioner and the governor's office saying, hey, I've got money I want to put on this project. We're trying to get them on at the same time to make it more fair and equitable across the state. So we're looking at what we can do to maximize safety, security, reduce congestion, economic development. But with economic development, this is not SIA. This isn't, that's different money. It's not safety money either. So the money that we use on intersections like Andy and Brandon Dart's, his group, different pool money. But anything that we can do help support connectivity, sustainable communities or accelerate any kind of project delivery is the key. We have unobligated federal dollars that we need to spend, whether it's at the state or at the local levels with the MPOs. We want to help you all do that. So if there's anything that we can do, please let us know. This will come back next year. So if you have something you're on the fence, you're not real sure about, you can apply again next year. The plan as of right now is to have this as a annual project. The one important thing on that last email that was sent out is the entire application is in there. Once you start the application, you can't save your progress and go back to it. You got to finish it. But now that you have all the questions and the tip page for like Rock Springs, that would be one of your main exhibits. You already have it in your plans. You can reference those plans. put all that information in there and then just paint the whole picture for them so they don't have any questions. Do y'all have any questions?
So it's not replacing the ranking process? Because when we met a couple of weeks ago, you all said it was replacing the ranking process.
What I'm looking at as of right now, it is not replacing the process. We may hear more next week. But as of July, it was not going to replace the ranking process.
And does it matter what phase the project's ready for? Like, it needs to be ready to be let to construction real soon or anything like that?
That would be better, but if it's something that is going to be ready for construction, say 2032, is in our 10-year plan. Go ahead and start working on the first phase, like survey, something like that, work your way to that section, then you just would put that in there, say, we don't, this would be consideration for a future year within the 10-year plan. If that makes sense. Yeah, the faster we can get, because the big money that we all need to spend is going to be on construction. Not the 15% up here at the beginning, it's that other 85 of putting this thing on the ground and making it functional for everybody. So as much as that we can get down, the better, because with reapportionment and those type of things that are coming, we have the opportunity at the state of Tennessee. They give us obligational authority from the feds, and then they give us, but we have to be able to spend that money. We got to have it obligated and running, or they're not going to give us any more. So anything that we can do to get those things going too will be helpful. So if there's anything that any of the jurisdictions want to help partner with or work on these projects, we would. You're not left out in the cold. We're trying to get these things up. If you have any other questions, feel free to let me know and we'll try to get some answers.
Tell me about the line. Yeah, Washington County line into 81.
Okay, so we've got, as far as that's rolling into project updates, and if you all were good with that, we'll go ahead and do that. We've got lots of people here to talk about it. So State Route 36 specifically is from State Route 75 north up to the interstate. That project, we've had a little bit of survey work. On that, but it's not gone through the main design. I think we might have a potential location of the swath of basically what we would look at, but past that, we don't have any additional information on it. We've not gone through and done any of the big NEPA study or the basically it's almost a start from scratch process on that one.
I think what was confusing when they rolled out the 10-year plan and we listened to the presentation for me 3 times. And I still don't understand it all, but it's a good document to reference. So when we heard the presentations of the 10-year plan, it was, okay, so what happened to the other projects? What happened to the ranking? What happened to the plans that we had listed in each jurisdiction? I think it would be helpful if, as a supplement, just reassure us that those projects are still in the plans, not our own individual plans. Obviously, we vote on those, but that it almost should have been like an appendix of the 10-year plan. So we know, okay, next time they revise this, I suppose it gets looked at every year as things roll off and budgets move up. It would have been nice if that was like an appendices, just to reassure us, because it stirred a lot of folks.
Absolutely.
And up here, basically, we got nothing.
So Improve Act wise, we're still committed to do all the Improve Act projects. I mean, it's in law. We got to build it. It's just outside of our 10-year window as of right now. Well, for this year.
So strategically, then we would need to know, or at least be reassured that our projects are still in the Improve Act.
Oh, yeah.
Because 100%. We have to budget accordingly, not just what's in front of our face, but should we go ahead and ante up in the partnership program, or should we be patient and wait until our project gets moved up in the 10-year plan?
Well, and that's the decision that these boards have to, and the local governments need to make.
But also from county perspective, you know, we rely on the MPO to get all these pockets of funding and take care of what they can
Mhm.
in our jurisdictions respectively. But if it requires county match, I need a year to work on this. I mean, the
Right.
budget was just passed. I'm too late unless I ask for, you know, revisit the budget, and
Right.
that's a big no-no unless it's an emergency, so.
Well, and even if we were looking specifically at State Route 36 on that, I wouldn't push it and get it in the next 30 days. We wouldn't have a accurate cost estimate.
No,
Because I mean, we talked about that in Bristol,
yeah,
to really have a good idea just what the engineering is gonna start moving through that, let alone the rest of the project. But that could be something that we could move forward to for the next SPP. If, you know, we could most likely get some help on some cost estimates and to look at some of those things.
I think
And
that
then-
would be
and then-
beneficial if TDOT could help the MPOs work on cost estimates, then we would really know what we're looking at and how to project that in a timeline.
Right. And then you'd know what, I'm just gonna say 15%. I don't, it varies
Mhm.
on, because right away it could get really crazy on that one. Cause there's definitely gonna be a lot of buying properties to remove rock, and cause you got a stream on one side and a bluff on the other. And that's just at the beginning. So.
I know, but it's dangerous.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
It's our most populated area of the county.
And it is and it is definitely needs addressed. I agree 100%. But that's kind of where 36 right now, our main focus for this area based on rankings was 126. And that's where we've been pumping all our efforts into. But if we want to roll to start doing SPP information on like 36, something like that. Yeah, if that's what y'all want to do, we can start looking into that. But it would be, like you said, you know, get a good cost estimate that we can, hey, what's it gonna take to do, say, the PE and NEPA on that? Which would have to be recertified most likely anyway, because we're not gonna go to the next phase in under 3 years. I think 3 years is what NEPA. You could probably tell me more on that. But that's the heavy
But with
lift.
with the new PDN process, environmentals along all the way, they'll keep it updated.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah, I did know, I did hear earlier that if we start that process and that part's already done, that we will take care of the updates.
So to be clear, State Route 36 was funded for some preliminary work, but there is no phase funded that makes it part of the 10-year plan that it will be moved forward.
There's nothing on 36, State Route 36 in the 10-year plan that I saw.
But it is an approved act project, which means it will be completed someday at some scope. But
Right.
you don't know what the scope change will be or when and if it will ever happen. Fair?
Fair.
And I mean, really, the last presentation we got was, you want something added to the 10-year plan, show us some money. Be a partner. So we're all open and honest. That's what I heard.
Right.
When we had the MPO meeting is, if you want to add, if you want something added, you got to put some meat in.
The other side of that is we showed you our hand for the next 10 years. We're not going to rob money from any of these plans to pay for the new projects that could come in through the SPP. So what Preston and our plan is to take the SPP. Everything will be decided by December. Take that to the state legislature, say, we want funding we have our partners that want to spend money with us. We need this much money to cover all these projects. And so we're going after additional funds based on the need that's going to be turned in. Because that was one of the first questions, like Dexter asked, where's all this extra money going to come from? They're going to have to allocate it through the budget for next year.
And when we rank projects, the state projects, we ranked them based on where they were at in the process. I mean, it may not have been.
Right.
This is most important to us. It's like this one's ready for construction, so they're not going to skip over one that's ready for construction to start NEPA on one. But State Route 36 NEPA was obligated in 2020, I believe, and I don't know how much, if any of that's been spent, but it was obligated. And then another question I had asked when we had a meeting about the statewide partnership program with TDOT was, yeah, there's a lot of federal grants out there. Some state is eligible for, some they're not. But why don't they partner with the MPOs or the locals? And if we could say, hey, we'll apply for a federal grant for this if you put in the match. I mean, it's like a win-win to both to me, and they are opening a grants office. Is that,
Correct.
you want to talk about that?
We are gonna have a grants office. Right now, it's under, I think it's still under Dan Palmy's purview. I don't know where it's gonna finally land, because there's a lot of things moving around. But we will have that, which will help support you all or anyone who's applying for grants. If y'all weren't after an infra grant or a mega grant to build the entire thing, say we got $150-250 million, something like that on that process. Yeah, I mean, we would obviously partner with you all on any of that, but even to get the grants and help support some of that, hopefully the grant office will be able to help with some of that. But even if it's just, let's say it's, only $25 million, because it was one of the smaller grants to go towards that project to take care of the right of way and some of that engineering costs. I mean, that'd be extraordinary. But it doesn't have to be City of Kingsport funds or Sullivan County funds or STBG funds from the MPO. I mean, if McDonald's wants to sponsor the road, we're fine with that. I mean, it doesn't matter. But who's the partners? We don't want to leave any money on the table is our biggest thing that we're really pushing for. And we had in the previous 10-year plan, that happened a little bit. And Preston came back and made that big correction. We do not want to do that. So they're pushing
if
hard.
there's money on the table,
Mhm.
why can't it just be reallocated for more projects in the 10-year plan?
I don't understand.
You're saying that there's money on the table outside of the funded 10-year plan.
Right.
And I realize it's this pocket of money and this pocket of money, but can it just be reallocated to add more projects to the 10-year plan?
Well, that's kind of what we're trying to do, but like if we have a city that's got $1 million on a project that's going to cost $10 million and they were not selected for the 10-year plan the last time, they need to resubmit for that again. Or if there was something else that they were doing different, or if it wasn't selected and they want to put $1 million towards and I'm just picking 1 and 10, just
Yeah.
random numbers. But we don't want to leave that there. We want to bring the other 9 to the table or try to do that through the state legislature to fund those projects. So we can get those things up and running and going and get them delivered. Because we got a timeline on deliverables too. And that's the IPD process that Mike was talking about. That's been we finish what we start and we need to get these things up and moving and get them done. Because it shouldn't take 15 years to build a sidewalk. It shouldn't take 30 years to build a road, but and our deputy governor, he doesn't want that to happen either. Let's get these things up and rolling. Let's get this project fixed.
What is the timeline for 126? Phases.
For the whole thing, or some of these guys have some updates on the specific, like on phase 1. And I'm going to let them give the specific timelines on that. I don't know about phase 2 either. But I know that in the timeline that we've heard lots of timelines, we heard timelines on the Improve Act when it was first passed. There were numbers in there. And I don't know that those weren't removed when we didn't get indexing. There were some things that changed. Excuse me. But, we're wanting to have these things, and you guys can correct me here. It was like, I think the number was like 7 years for IPD from this. When we started a project, we wanted to start construction within 7 years. That's how we're doing NEPA and keep NEPA going the whole time. And IPD it's a team that's built and stays with that project the whole time. We're part of that as planning, and we're important right up front at the beginning. But as the project goes through and they start getting design and they, unless the planning document changes, we don't ever have anything else to say. Make sure you get that sidewalk put in or that bridge put in because it's in the plan. Well, we've already got it. We're good. Okay. We have to stay with that project too. Just like environment, just like right away, just like utilities, everyone stay, which they're a little more important when it gets to the turning dirt part, especially if they find something like an acid producing rock or something along those lines. That can happen. But planning can't see all that.
Well, and it's lots of moving positions and people, and So it can look
That
good on
makes it
paper,
interesting
but
too.
you're
Yep.
dealing with different people each. month.
100%. That makes it hard too. And you know, we're gonna have a new governor in 2 years and we're gonna have most likely a new commissioner in that amount of time too. I mean, there's no telling. But this is the way that the direction that we're rolling now and trying to get it. Hopefully we have the same deputy commissioners. And they can keep towing the rope and moving with it.
Any other questions of Troy at this time? If not, we'll move to our updates. Leslie, we'll lead us in that discussion.
Okay. Will you promote or allow to speak Stephen Minor and Tiffany Dubinsky? So Stephen, am I correct that you're Federal Highway Virginia?
Yeah, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes. Do you have any updates?
No, we don't have any updates here. Thank you.
And Federal Highway Tennessee is not on. We'll go ahead and get Tiffany. Tiffany, do you have any DRPT updates?
Yes, I do. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So just a couple reminders in general, although they may not be as applicable. I apologize for my phone. In Virginia, we are wrapping up Smart Scale Round 6. So both for transit as well as rail on our end, applications were due on August 1st. However, that does not mean we're not already looking for round 7. And so if you are within the Virginia area or Virginia and you're looking at any rail or transit projects, please reach out to me and we can start brainstorming how you may be able to apply for round 7. We also wanted to highlight there were a couple of notice of funding opportunities that came out. One was from FRA related to the Railroad Crossing Elimination Program, which I believe you are familiar with. Applications are due by September 23rd, and we do have technical assistance available through DRPT's Rail Planning Division. We can provide that contact if there's interest on applying for that program. I also wanted to make a note about another funding opportunity, which was Reconnecting Communities pilot program. This was announced back in July, but it is something that is encouraged for if you're looking at any kind of community planning grants and details. It's about technical assistance on this. And a good example of the Reconnecting Communities grant that was in the last funding was actually here in Richmond. That was related to the Jackson Ward area in terms of kind of connecting the community that was divided by I-64/95. The last thing is that in general, if you are a transit agency or an MPO, if you have had any experience or you were awarded any funding for FY25 with DRPT, we are hosting our annual post-award webinar that's scheduled next Tuesday, August 13th at 10:30. And I can send my agency update that will have the link for registration if interested. Even if you are not a recipient and you want to learn more about our grant management and administration, please feel free to register and listen in. And that's all I have for my updates.
Thank you. Stacy, Michael allowed you to speak. Do you have any updates from TDOT?
You want to come
No,
up?
Stacy on line, not projects yet. We'll get to projects in a minute. Stacy,
Can you hear me now, Leslie?
yes, yep.
No, Troy covered it. I'm just listening in, and there's some stuff there that we will cover next week during the conference.
Okay, sounds good. And then
Thank you.
Blake for VDOT. Nope. Okay, projects, Michael.
Yeah, that's working. Um, Okay, so what I do know, let's see here. So 126, I think that was just recently asked about. So that is in the TMA, the 03 section. It's currently scheduled for August letting of 25. So they're working on right of way right now. There's still a few buildings that they're trying to do asbestos removal and abatement on, but August of 25.
So that's just that half of phase 1, right? 'Cause we've been
Correct. It's
back
the
and
03
forth.
section.
Okay, we've been back and forth hearing that the 10-year plan is full phase 1, or then it was just a section, and we've heard both, so. So it's just the up to Briarwood.
So work there.
Yep.
Yeah, judging from what I'm seeing on here, I'm not the keeper of these schedules, so I'm just giving you the information that I can actually see, but yeah, that's what it looks like. I do know that the third phase of State Route 93, all those improvements we've been doing down there, that is scheduled to let this month. So that'll be under construction soon. Projects currently under construction. We got the resurfacing on.
Is there an update on the 0.04 section of Memorial Boulevard? You can't push that button. It's gotta be green.
That's, yeah. No, I don't have anything on Project 360, so that'd be, probably John Barrett's group could probably give you a better update on that one. As far as active construction, so we've got the State Route 75, reconstruction down there at the airport. Currently, that one has a contract completion date of September 30th. We're probably gonna end up doing a time extension on that one. Currently working on drainage, last two mast arms for the two sets of signal systems. They're scheduled to go in soon. Some additional guardrail in that area. Let's see. So the resurfacing of State Route 36, we're slowly winding that one down. I think we're down to center turn lanes, shoulders, shoulders on ramps, striping. That's set to be complete September 30th. And then the last one is the bridge out there on 93. We're finishing up phase 2 construction right now. Phase 3 of that bridge is set to start sometime after Labor Day. And that one has a completion date of March of 25. Oh, yeah, Project Smoky is complete.
Yeah, I made myself a note. I should have moved that last time because it was just finishing up at our last meeting. What about Fort Robinson Bridge?
Again, that's one that's not coming to construction this year. That would be John Barrett's group. I can look for that between now and the end of the meeting and see what information I have on that one, but.
Is that all from? Okay.
Yeah.
Tim, you want to go ahead and do net trans since the microphone's
Yeah.
right there? Make sure the light's green.
I don't have a ton of stuff. We currently, last week actually celebrated the First Tennessee Human Resource Agency's 50th anniversary. So that's a big milestone for us. And we're currently working fairly closely with East Tennessee Clean Fuels as well as the EPA on trying to procure additional vehicles and replacement electric vehicles for our fleet. So that's been a big undertaking here of late, but that's pretty much all I've got for you guys.
Okay, Candace. And Chris, you're next.
It'd be green. Okay. I don't have a lot, but I do have an exciting item. First of all, we did receive 5 new vans. They're at Fleet right now. And so we're in the process of accepting those, and we'll be putting tablets and radios and wrapping them and getting them ready to go.
How long have you been waiting on those?
A long time, a long time. So we are excited about that. But the next thing that we have is we are in the process of doing some research and talking to other agencies about doing, it's called micro transit, but what it basically boils down to, it's almost like an Uber-like service for the community. The position we find ourselves in right now is where our van service, so we serve people who are eligible through medical needs, or they are 65 and older, or they're going to work. And so that program's called Job Assist, but we still have the ability to do a lot of same day trips. And so if we were to, and it will be a pilot program, but if we were to be able to offer this, it would come with an app where people could schedule their own trips, and we would still schedule them if they want to call in. If you don't want to get the app and you're not comfortable with that, then we'll of course still schedule you through our dispatch office. But I think we would be able to serve more of the community without having to be eligible. It's just basically you need a ride and we'll provide you a ride. That's of course within the city limits of Kingsport. So that's what we're looking at, and we're hoping, I mean, I don't know if we're being too confident, but we're hoping maybe October 1. So that's depending on when we can get the app. So you all have any questions?
Jimmy put in the chat box, which I was going to mention as well, MEOC, which is Mountain Empire Transit. They've been doing the micro transit for a few years. So you may want to check with them.
Yes, as a matter of fact, Chris and Timothy Land both went and spoke with Mitch there at MEOC, and they were using VIA. They're really happy with that. And we have EcoLane software that we've just gotten, and so that's who we would need to go through. But we also just went and spoke with Bristol Transit in Virginia, who's looking at doing the same thing. We had a meeting with Jay Dietrich. And also Gastonia in North Carolina, we're looking at meeting with them as well, but we're looking at other agencies who are doing this successfully and trying to, figure out all the components to it. But we're excited, and we hope we'll be able to serve more of the community that way with time that we're just sitting here with, so yeah, more to come on that.
Thank you. Chris, you got everything for the airport?
Yeah.
The airport has 3 construction projects that are going to start in the next month or two. The first one is our employee lot, which is currently 100 spots. We're going to expand to about 400 some spots, and it's going to be mixed use employee and passenger parking. Not that we have a parking problem with the problem, but if we get another airline that comes in, which we're hoping to within the next year or two, we'll now have the capacity to be able to store those extra passengers. The second project is we have a box hangar that's about 90 feet by 168 feet that we're going to be building at the airport. And we're hoping that can store at least 6 medium-sized aircraft. We get a lot of questions about hangar space from around the whole country. It's in shortage around the country. So we're hoping if we build a hangar, get some more planes coming into the airport. And the third, which is the biggest one, is we're going to be doing our taxway Alpha relocation, our taxway Charlie removal, and our runway 5 safety area is going to be fix the standards. So the 3 of those are mainly safety. Our taxway Alpha creates a straighter path, cuts out some turns for the aircraft going, and also creates some additional ramp space for our general aviation traffic and our airline traffic as well to fit more of them in. And the next week, we're going to have a big close for a new airport rescue firefighting vehicle. So we'll have that, and that'll be replacing one of our 23-year-old fire trucks at the airport that we use exclusively for aircraft rescue.
What about your master plan?
Oh, yep. In our master plan, we have one of our private meetings for that at the end of the month. It's our technical advisory committee that'll be happening, and we're going to be going over some of our alternatives. We have 3 right now in the rough draft phase, and we hope to get some feedback from that advisory committee on how to proceed from there. But I get 2 of them show another parallel runway going in at some point. One of them shows one of our current runways, that's our cross run runway, getting removed at another point as well, and then some extra development, additional concourse space to support future airlines as well. All of that is kind of just hypothetical, though. It kind of depends how the airport develops and grows over the next 20, 30 years.
Sounds like you got a lot going on.
Yeah.
There any VDOT project updates? Okay, I guess just local projects, Michael.
The Greenbelt project continues to be in design phase with the consultants addressing comments. The Brickyard pedestrian and bicycle bridge is nearing the end of the NEPA phase. There's like 3 comments from the feds that have to be addressed, and we should get notice to proceed with design in the next week or so. Main Street rebuild is approximately 2/3 of the way complete, with completion expected in summer of 25, and we expect to open everything except the Railroad Y. So from Cherokee Street East, we expect in the next week or so to be opening those roads up and to full traffic, to start letting people use that end like they used to. Everything except for the landscaping type items that's got to go in the fall is pretty much done up to there. Island Road rebuild, we're looking at that and having conversation with TDOT about what's the best way to move forward. Costs continue to escalate, and there's just not the money to do it. So we're reaching out to see if that can be a more of a widening type project that would meet the desires of the people that live out there. And to use Steve Allen's quote, to right size the project a little bit to what we may be able to afford in a few years when we build our MPO fund back up. But stay tuned on that. Resurfacing grouping 1, we've got notice to proceed with construction with the bids on that one. So we're getting contract documents finished up, and we're hoping to get at least some of that work done this fall, but it'll definitely bleed over into spring of next year. Grouping 2, Leslie, we just
got the NEPA.
Got the NEPA approval. Yeah.
We're getting ready to add grouping 3.
Yeah. We talked about that.
In grouping 3, we're looking at doing Orbank and Meadowview Parkway, because Meadowview Parkway was removed from group 1 due to the cost. And part of the information on that was we would include it in a later grouping. We just needed to go ahead and move forward with group 1. So we didn't want to delay it and didn't have the money to cover all of it. So we removed it from group 1 and it'll be in group 3.
And the only other one would be the SIA. It has been rescoped due to acidic soils, as Troy made reference to earlier. So the scope of that project has been reduced somewhat to where it will tie in straight to Riverport Road instead of paralleling the sluice for a portion before it ties in. And we're having meetings about once a quarter to get, hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have a complete scoping document that Michael, what's the term in PDN? It's the contract document basically with PDN that everybody's agreeing to scope, and that's what we're actually building. And the final scoping document should be in place by the end of the year. So that one's taken a while. To be honest, it being the first PDN project that Region 1 has taken from the beginning. It's a learning experience for all of us, but hopefully we're on our way. And if there's any other questions on any other projects I've not hit, be happy to answer them. So as Mr. Dick was saying, the phase 1 project, as you know it, that goes to Cooks Valley Road, got split into 2 construction projects. They're continuing to buy all of the right of way for both projects. 1A, or that's the 0.03 up there on the board. If you can see it, is Center to Briarwood. That portion is in the 10-year plan and is an August of 25 letting right now. And the question that we've had since the 10-year plan come out is phase 1 to Cooks Valley in the 10-year plan, or is phase 1A to Briarwood in the 10-year plan? And that's why you'll always have us asking questions until we get clarity on that.
Is that it? State Route 93, Sullivan County. Going to letting this week.
Is there any other item come before us? One once, twice. Thank you for your time today. This meeting is adjourned.